Good morning to all the dignitaries who are present here today, and I thank the conference organizers for giving us this opportunity to present our paper. So, our paper is basically focusing on the implementation of the hostel outpass issuing mechanism using multi-factor authentication. So, the authors are Mr. Naresh T, myself, Y Ramesh, Mr. Vittal, GVL Narayana, and Ms. K. Kavita. And coming to the abstract of the paper, the whole idea of presenting this paper is to make sure that a hostel outpass mechanism is available to the higher educational institutions or to the schools implementing a robust biometric based hostel outpass issuing mechanism, which will guarantee both security and the assurance to the management and the parents of the students who are staying in the boarding facilities of the schools or the colleges. And this mechanism of issuing the hostel outpass using the biometrics will not only guarantee the high security and assurance, and also it will avoid creating a fake or stealing the biometric information, which would be difficult for the students to crack into. And the hostel outpass can be issued without any hassles. Also, the management can guarantee to the parents or the wardens or the guardians of the parents to have the information about what time their what is going, what purpose, what time the hostel outpass has been approved, because we are going to implement an SMS mechanism over here also, and thereby it implements the security in campus through this hostel issuing mechanism. And generally, hostel outpass is the one that is used to give it out to the students. And the whole purpose of this design is to keep track of the whereabouts of the boarders, whether they are inside the campus, whether they are outside the campus, what time they have left, and all of this information will basically be tracked using this mechanism. And also, nowadays, colleges or schools are running the hostel outpass mechanism in one or the two ways. So one is through an ERP system wherein a student can apply for an outpass through online. The proctor or the warden will approve that, and then or reject it, and then the student will print the hostel outpass, and then an SMS will still go, and that's how the online mechanism is. And in this, there is a possibility of security breach. Like always, the students will share their login credentials or the passwords might be shared, and this online mechanism is not so robust. And the other way, in the old way of giving the hostel outpass, is through physical forms wherein a candidate will fill the uh, outpass request and the proctor will approve, and then he will take that form and then leave the campus. But here in this mechanism, there is no guarantee that or an assurance given to the parent what time the candidate or the student has left the boarding facility. So in either of these cases, whether it is the old mechanism of issuing through papers or whether it is an online mechanism, each of them has its own disadvantages. And so to overcome this one, we are proposing a robust multi-factor authentication using biometric authentication, so which will avoid ending up with these hassles of security breaches or no information to the parent, etc. So the coming to the proposed method, we are suggesting two different methods to guarantee the high security in this process. One is for the higher education institutions, one is for the school kids. Of course, it's basically when I say two methods, both of them will follow the multi-factor authentication, but the process mechanism will differ depending on the level of education that the ward is going through. If it is for higher education institutions, it is one way. If it is for school kids, it is another way. And the technologies that we are using is the front end is the .NET technologies for the framework, and the SQL Server is used as a backend to store all the data that is related through these processes. And we also will try to collect parent and ward information along with their biometrics, so that appropriate information is authenticated and appropriate information is sent over SMS. And also we will try to collect the student or the employee information in case of a higher educational institution. As I said, two different methods. We need parent information if it is for the school kids. We are good enough with the student information if it is for the higher educational institutions. And the collection of the above master data is mandatory to implement this multi-factor authentication for issuing the virtual pass. So coming to the architecture of this system, so there is obviously a web application or a mobile application through which a candidate will log in. In case of higher education institution, let me brief it out. So a candidate will be able to log in into a web application through his or her credentials, and they will be able to apply for the hostel outpass, and they will be able to apply for the hostel outpass, and it will go for the verification to the warden or the proctor. So once it reaches the warden, it will make sure that the whoever has applied is authenticated with a biometric. So it comes here. So a biometric validator will be available here. So once the candidate applies for a hostel outpass through his login, it goes to the warden, and the candidate has to go to the warden or the place where we have installed a biometric mechanism, and he has to give the authentication. So that biometric will be validated against the request that is submitted by the candidate. Once it is validated, and the hostel outpass will be auto approved. So here, as we are telling, there are two methods that we are following: one for the school kids and one for the higher education institutions. In higher education institutions, students will be able to log in into their application, apply for an hostel outpass. It goes to the warden for verification. The student has to go to the warden for putting up their biometric to make sure that he is the right candidate who has applied for the biometric hostel outpass. So his biometric will be validated against the request that is submitted. If both of them are collating, the hostel outpass will be automatically approved. And in case of school students, the concerned parent or the guardian who is authorized to take the kid for an outpass, first he has to apply for an outpass in the login that is provided to the parent. The school kids will not have any access to the system. The parent has to apply for an outpass, and the parent has to come for a biometric authentication, because their information is the one that we are capturing to validate against the request that is submitted through the application form. Though in this case, though the school students will know the login credentials of the application, the biometric authenticator is still the parent. So only if the parent comes, the hostel outpass request will be validated and approved. And if you can see here the biometric, how it gets validated. So the student will submit the biometric coming to a designated place, and the student will verify the biometric against the hostel outpass request that the candidate has submitted, and the hostel outpass will get printed there itself. So one copy, and at this moment, the parent will also receive an outpass against the biometric validation that your ward has applied for an outpass and a biometric is validated, and the parent will receive an SMS stating that your ward is going for an outpass, and with reasons and different other information that we are trying to capture. So the candidate will, once the output printed, the outpass is printed, the candidate will submit one copy to the security gate, and also one copy will be retained at the warden for his record purpose. And once the candidate comes to the security, there also the security will collect one copy for their records. And once the candidate is returning back to the hostel, the student has to give the biometric again, because it will validate against an out biometric that is already recorded. So when two biometrics are available for a candidate, it means one out and one in is captured, and the parent will again receive an SMS stating that your word has come back to the school or the hostel premise. So the overall idea here is to make sure that against an outpass, there are two biometrics which we are capturing. One is to make sure that he is the right person who is going out, and that is an out record. And once he is coming back, there is an in biometric also which we are trying to capture here. And the different kinds of steps that are involved here is the student, as I said, briefed in the architecture, the student will open the application, he will enter the credentials, he will open the outpass menu for applying for the outpass, and he will fill different information that is required to submit an application, like what is the out time, what is the expected in time, date and time, what is the reason for leaving. These are all the information that the candidate has to fill, and after filling, the outpass application will be submitted by the student, and the parent will be notified that an outpass request has been generated by their ward, and the warden will and coming to the warden side, the warden will log in into the application. The warden will still approve or reject the hostel outpass based on the information that is given by the candidate. And here the warden approval will be automatic or is still manual. In case that the candidate is applying for an outpass against the dates where there is a college vacation is also declared, like Sunday, or for some vacation, festival vacation, or for summer vacation. If the candidate is applying the outpasses against these dates, the warden will not need to manually approve the specific request. It can be auto approved. A student who is applying for an outpass against a working day of a college, then the warden has to manually approve looking at the reasons of the student for applying for the outpass. And the warden is also able to reject the outpass. And once the warden approved the outpass, the student will go and do the biometric verification, and then the uh, outpass will get printed. Just because the warden has approved the outpass doesn't mean that the outpass is issued. Only against an authentication of a biometric, ensuring that he is the candidate who has applied for the outpass only will be printed. Once the printed outpass comes, immediately the parent will say that outpass is approved. There are two kinds of SMS which we are sending. One is notification or an SMS to a parent against a request, notification or an SMS to a parent against the printing and approval of the biometric. And subsequently, the student will go and give the printed outpass one copy to the gate, stating that he is going out, and then there he has to give the biometric for the second time, which is when he is actually moving out of the campus. See, why we are capturing multiple biometrics here is maybe the name itself says multi-factor biometric authentication. Say, for example, while printing the outpass, a candidate will print and then he will take a print out. There is always a possibility that this copy may be given to his friends. And at the gate, it is not just a paper that we are submitting, proposing to submit there. Still, the person has to give again a biometric validating that he is the right person, and his all details will be shown up in a screen which shows his name, his photograph, etc. All will be shown at the security gate against his biometric, and the security person will verify, and then he will be sent out. Also, there is a second reason why we are capturing the biometrics here at the gate, because a student might take a printed outpass, say for example at 9 o'clock in the morning. He may actually be leaving the campus at 11 o'clock. So the parent, we are trying to send an information to the parent at multiple levels. The request is raised at 7 o'clock. The request is approved and printed at 9 o'clock. The candidate is actually walking out of the campus at 11 o'clock. So these are the different kinds of information that we are trying to give it out to the parent, so that an assurance is available to the parent about where is all their kid. What the full tracking is what we are giving out to the parents. Always there is a possibility that a candidate might have taken an outpass but does not want to leave the campus because he might have changed his mind or different other reasons. So it is when the parent will understand he has taken and have not gone out also. And the subsequent steps are the candidate completes his outpass, and then he returns back to the campus and he submits another copy that is printed, which is duplicate, to the gate, and then he will give a biometric and come inside. That is when we will send again another notification to the parent informing that their word has come back at so and so time. Okay, so this is how the entire process is there, and a multi-factor authentication is available at all levels, ensuring the right candidate has applied, the right candidate is taking a print of an outpass, and the right candidate is moving out of the campus, and the right candidate is coming into the campus after thorough verification. So coming to the implementation details of the project, we have designed some UI as well. So this is how an outpass request will be. All the information will be pre-populated except the dates and the the school to which he belongs to, the block and the floor which he is residing, the room number, they are all auto-populated from the master data. And it also shows the number of outpasses that the candidate has taken already in the past calendar year. The date at which he is leaving and the date time at which he is leaving is what the candidate has to fill, and the expected reporting date and the time back to the campus, which will automatically calculate how many days and how many hours he is going to be out of the campus. And the outpass is like whether he is going self or whether he is accompanied by his parent or guardian is what he has to fill. And the purpose, what purpose he is taking an outpass for, is the candidate will submit. This and all will be, as I said, in the step-by-step process. This will come to the warden's account, and also a notification will be sent to the parent stating that this is a request that has been initiated by your ward. Once it is approved and the biometric is given by the candidate, the hostel outpass is approved, and a copy of them will be printed like this with a barcode and the details, his name, his room number, degree, and year of study, the room number, the date and time of leaving, the parent mobile number, everything will be, including the purpose of leaving. 2 copies will be there. One copy the candidate will be submitting at the gate. One copy the candidate will again has to submit back at the gate while he is returning to the campus. So for this purpose, we are using a biometric device which is capable of storing and reading the biometrics faster. So we are using an STQC certified biometric device, which is also being used for certifying or authenticating the Aadhaar biometrics, so that fake biometrics and different other things are overcome. So we are implementing a biometric device which is STQC certified and provided by Hamster Pro 20, which is also providing an SDK support for our free implementation, so that though the base architecture is freezed, so on top of it we can build different levels of applications whichever we wanted to. So it is compatible both for Linux and Android applications, and the technical specifications of the product are shown here. So the product is Hamster Pro 20, and it is a fingerprint based authentication mechanism. So it works in all possible ways, and which is also a certified biometric device for authentication. The authentication of the biometric device is proper. And of course, there are different other models that are still available. We are trying to give a comparison here why we have gone for Hamster Pro 20. It could be for different reasons. We have gone for a mediocre device. There are other devices which are below to it, which are above to it, like Hamster Pro 30, which is above to it, wherein the image size is what that varies. Rest all is okay. There is no other much difference. So it is the quality of the image and the weight of the image that we are trying to make sure that at this level we are trying to minimize it. And about this particular product, it is also giving us the, as I said, SDK support. It is iSecureGen.fdx SDKP Pro is the SDK kit that we have got through this product, and we are trying to use a Windows operating system, Windows based environment for implementation of this project. And the list of classes that are available in this SDK are also shown here. Fingerprint manager, FMP device list, error mechanism to handle errors, and to also capture the device information where all the candidate is giving biometrics, at which biometric he has given this authentications. That also we are trying to capture, and what level of security we want to implement is can be called upon using all these classes. And there are other functions or the calls that are available to initialize, to open the device, to get the device info. Once the biometric is placed, to get the image, to get the image quality, to create a template initially while we are collecting the master data, and to match those templates against the master data. These are all the calls that are supported by the SDK, which is given by the Hamster Pro. And these are the different error codes that are being used in the coding to capture the error handling mechanism. And subsequently, let me brief out the summary of the setup. So we are implementing this through the SDK. So this SDK is implemented, is installed against all the master systems where the biometrics are connected, and then the device is connected to a computer or a laptop, and then the SDK is installed. And then we the once the application is opened, it keeps on calling the different functionalities based on the usage of the system. And this is the screenshots of the development. And this is the place where we try to capture the master data of the candidate, his name, the current degree which he is studying, his date of birth, the unique ID of the candidate, the course, BTech Triple E, his address, current year and current semester, the hostel name, which block, which floor, which room number he is studying, and the fingerprint biometric is what we capture here. And this is all the list of the candidates that we have captured. It's a master data and different menus you can see. This is for the student thumb collection report. If at all we want to see whose all thumb reports we have collected. This is for the verification, thumb verification. This is for the approval of the hostel outpasses and students in waiting list for getting approval of their hostel outpasses, or these are the different menus that are available. And this is the list of all the candidates whose hostel outpass is approved at what time, and other information. And let me conclude the proposal. So in the initial slides I have proposed, I have briefed on how the manual systems work. There are two kinds of manual systems, only an online request and online approving, and then he leaving without any verification whether he is the right person who has applied or whether he is the right person who is leaving the campus. And in a manual system, no authentication, no information to the parent, what time he is going, what time he is coming. So to overcome all of that drawbacks, a multi-factor authentication through biometric system is what is proposed, which will guarantee that the right person is applying, the right person is leaving, and a good assurance is given to the parent by sending notifications at different levels of the hostel outpass process. So we also propose to extend this system using facial recognitions, which are far ahead in terms of security as against to the biometric authentication. So I thank all the members who have given us this opportunity, to propose our model. This model will definitely help both the management of the schools and the colleges and the parents to ensure that their ward is safe inside the campus. Thank you so much. Thanks.